excited to go to campus today because I have to pick up a child development book, maybe go to the library and start recording my podcast or start writing the script. I have to record my podcast episode this week for my class. It's crazy because on Friday, and I mentioned really craving Hawaiian food, and then I looked on the cafeteria menu yesterday, and today's Hawaiian food. I think this is a sign. I'm going to go to the library, check out my child development book, get lunch at the cafeteria, maybe do some work. But yeah, so excited. But it's good. It's like mac salad and chicken katsu. Chicken katsu with mac salad. I love mac salad. For $8 too. Great. I got a chocolate chip cookie on my way out. More cake eventually. Got for $1. I'm at the library. I finished eating lunch and I'm working on my podcast episode right now. I think I'm gonna be typing out my podcast script and then later this week I will record it. I'm at the library, so I'm whispering. I don't have the best podcasting equipment, so I think I'm going to try to use my mic to record my podcast episode. Hopefully it goes well. Since I have my child development book, I figured might as well take advantage of the pretty day. It's not as hot as it was earlier, and do some reading while at the park.
Yeah, we're a taster right here.
This is so funny. So today it was our church's anniversary, and so we basically got to help by working the food truck at church. So we were serving tacos, and so I think I have a clip of us even trying the tacos before we served, and that was so fun. And then now I am, as usual, procrastinating, and I have to do my first podcast episode. So I'm actually in the closet because I heard that that's the best for sound, so hopefully that helps. So I'm trying to record my first podcast, so I thought it'd be fun to kind of document that. I've never done it before, so we'll see how this goes. Let me pull out my script. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the first episode of 20 Late and Trying, a podcast for anyone feeling like they're behind and too late. And familiarity. 2, it didn't blindside them. And 2, it didn't blindside them. And 2, it didn't blindside them. Time. It's never too late. Okay, I did it. I hope. Now I guess I have to edit the episode. I don't really know. I'll be honest, I feel like this podcast episode is kind of giving audiobook, but we'll see. Now I gotta edit and figure out how to edit. 20 Late and Trying, a podcast for anyone feeling like they're behind and too late. Join me each week as we have honest chats trying to get through life, facing a quarter-life crisis, and wishing we were 20 again. So, quick backstory about me. As you've probably guessed, I'm in my late 20s and almost 30, and very much facing my own quarter-life crisis. So much of a life crisis that I actually quit my tech job earlier this year. When I first explained my situation to someone, I actually accidentally said, "I'm going through a midlife crisis." And they were like, "Midlife? Or do you mean quarter life?" Well, I hope it's just a quarter life crisis, and I have a lot more life to live. When I was younger, I remember admiring anyone who was 25. I thought, those people were so cool and so far from me. Well, guess what? I'm there now. Actually, I'm past 25. I'm far from being cool and feeling like I have it all together. I'm sure it doesn't help that people still come up to me and ask when I'm graduating high school. And then I have to explain, well, actually, I graduated high school 10 years ago, have since gone to college, and have since gotten a job. Or I guess I had a job. I was working. I quit my tech job earlier this year with nothing planned next. It wasn't a spur of the moment decision, although I kind of secretly wish it was. Like, how crazy would it be if that was my story, that I just up and quit? But my anxiety could never. I was at this startup for 6 years, and it came to a point where I had to make a decision for me. For the first time, I decided to choose me. And something about me is I don't take risks. I like routine. I like playing it safe. So quitting was not even in the cards for me. Actually, it wasn't even a card that I thought existed for me to play. But then work stress started bleeding into my personal life. And then my mindless scrolling on TikTok when I was just trying to shut off my brain then turned into the algorithm feeding me videos of 3 signs you should quit or red flags to look for at your company. It came to a point where there were more reasons to leave than to stay. One of the main reasons I decided to leave was realizing there had to be more to my life, especially trying to figure out my life purpose. When I'd think about what role I'd want or what direction I'd want to grow into, it didn't exist. It wasn't something that I could find at this company, at another tech company, and I really did try. I would go on coffee dates with people on different teams. I'd go to conferences, watch seminars, but I just felt stuck. There was no role that I wanted to grow into and no role that I just aspired to learn more about. Again, I am not a risk taker. I don't even rock the boat. And mind you, this tech job, it was my first full-time job after college. So I was doing this job for 6 years, and it was basically all I knew. I think I could very well actually probably have stayed and maybe even have died there. Like, that's how much I do not rock the boat. I probably could have convinced myself that a job is a job. How happy you are doesn't matter. Just stay. And seriously, that actually is how much I stick to the status quo. And maybe I even take it a little bit too far. There were some work-related changes that made it easy and almost like a sign for me that, hey, the door's open now. Now is the time to leave. And I didn't have any job planned afterwards. I didn't even know what I wanted to do afterwards, where I wanted to go. But the excitement of applying for an entry-level position somewhere else or doing something else was intriguing to me. I was willing to start from square one at something completely new. Even the excitement of going back to school was exciting. Even though I would be giving up this tech job and seniority and familiarity, I knew there had to be more, and I couldn't live my life like this. I didn't want my life to be like this. And so I decided to quit. I like to think I'm an empathetic and caring person. It took me 8 months from the first initial thoughts of leaving to accumulating all the reasons to do it, and then to actually having a conversation with my manager that this was it. In the span of those 8 months, I was upfront in my one-on-ones with my manager. I shared how stuck I felt, how I felt like there were no opportunities for growth, and how I just wasn't happy. I didn't have that excitement that I had when I started, and I just was getting drained, I think, with being there for so long and craving for something new. I still didn't know what I wanted to do, but the excitement of the world is my oyster was thrilling. For the first time, I felt like a kid again, where I could start fresh and choose to do anything. It was like when you're in elementary school and they ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? It made me think, should I have had these exciting feelings about life before? Maybe like 10 years ago when I was trying to decide what to do? If so, I'm a decade late. I probably should have done the growing and the risk taking like 2 life stages before this. But it's not too late. It's not too late to try and to go after what you want. You're not behind. It's really not too late. So try the new hobby. Start as a beginner with that thing you've always thought was cool but never tried. You're never too old for growth, and if you've never given yourself a chance to discover who you are, you can still do that now. Now is the time. And so I quit my job 9 months ago. That was 9 months ago. Have I figured out my life purpose since then? Absolutely not. But I'm growing, I'm progressing, and I'm trying. Have I regretted quitting my job? Never. I've actually never had a moment of regret since leaving. I know my story isn't over. If anything, it feels like it's just beginning. A story that is never too late to begin, even when society makes you think age is such a large and important number, and it makes you feel like you're too late. So join me in this podcast, 20 Late and Trying, in pushing ourselves to try new things, to grow, and discovering that where you are is exactly where you're meant to be. It's never too late.